And I just want to assure you that I've got 2 left feet, so not good at dancing. But I start by recognizing the colleagues here in the profession. I've seen so many of them here, I can't mention them by name. I'm happy that you are here and supporting the young Turks. I have some of them who have taught me here too. Professor Kawasi taught me. And interestingly, his big brother also taught me in secondary school, because at one time I passed through Chibuli Secondary School when the big brother was the head teacher. And is the person actually who drove my career. At one point, I think I would have been one of those students who were talked about by the first 2 presenters, but he held my hand firmly and put me on solid ground. So I'm very, very thankful for that. So I was told to come here and talk about basically resilience into the future. And I was wondering why you guys picked that topic. But seeing that the first presenters, now I understand. And it is a very, very appropriate topic. Because the accounting profession has moved. I don't know why this slide is in my face. The accounting profession has really moved on. When we started accounting, we are known as bean counters. People who come every day, balance the books. We had these very big ledger books. I don't know whether people have ever seen it. You know, you put up your arm and this is a book and you have to record entry by entry. The first time I went into the bank, I was shown that thing. My first job was in the bank and I couldn't believe, I couldn't make head or tail of it. And I said, well, and this is a ledger. Every day you enter an entry and then you debit, you credit, and it was all so strange. Now, you don't need to study debit and credits anymore. You just need to understand them because they're embedded in the softwares that we use. So when we're talking about accounting, one of the first things we need to do, what was accounting before? We used to do those things, debits and credits. Well, we used to process items. You go to the bank and say you want to withdraw money. They bring out this big ledger and they look at your previous debits, credits, then they add, subtract, and they tell you, oh, okay, he has a balance of 1 million, he can get 100,000. Right now, just on your phone, you know what your bank balance is. And you make a decision what you need to do. What used to happen, like typically, accountants, Mr. Makanga was here, and they are talking about accounting firms. They would have one big client because they couldn't afford to have so many other clients, and they would depend on one big client. I remember there was an accounting firm, I think it was called the same one, something, and they were the accountants of UCB. That time it was a bank called UCB. Which was bought by Stanbic. He had only that one client and actually also stationed us on Charm Towers. They are like employees. They were like employees of the bank. But now what has happened? Yeah? So many things have changed. We now use accounting software. When you go, your accounting software really don't know as an accountant what it is taking in the back end. You are just supposed to apply your brain. You no longer need to study debits and credits. You do it in the exam because you are supposed to understand it, but that is the last time you are going to practice it because you are not going to see it again. Wherever you go now, there's software doing that. What we do accounting in real time. Right now, when you deposit your cash in a bank account, even as you are walking away, just turning away from the teller like this, your phone is already alerting you. You have got 100,000 credit on you, whatever. Those are the kind of things happen. Now, accountants typically serve so many individuals. They go out, a firm can have 100 clients plus. And so many other things that are happening. Now, so, what are the drivers of this accounting? What are we looking for, accountants, and the finance of the future? What we are looking for now is skill. We know what we call reskilling and upskilling. When you are an accountant, you are no longer only required to know about debits and credits. You are supposed to do so many other things. Look at the syllabus. For example, some of you have done FCCAs here, CPAs here, and look at the syllabus and the things they are teaching you. They're teaching you data, they are teaching you about management, they are teaching you whatever. Because that is what you are. You need skills, a wholesome person to be able to perform. You need to use technology. If you sit there and say, I'm an accountant, you are losing it. In my department, if you cannot do data analysis, I can't employ you. And that is a basic. If you cannot, I repeat, if you cannot do data analysis, even if you are the best accountant in your school with a first-class degree, I won't give you a job. Because you are not going to give me what I want. Because where the accountant, like I tell you, the accountant of the future is moving away from historic reporting. My employer is not interested in knowing what happened yesterday. They are interested in knowing what is going to happen tomorrow. Now, we are no longer historic accountant. Yes, I'll give him a report and say, yes, yesterday we collected so much, we did that, and that is it. But then the next day say, what is our projection for next week? What is likely to be our cash flows? What do we likely to have in the banks and whatever? So if you can't do that analysis to give me that, forget about it. So you have to know, then you have to be able to use the technology to do the data analysis. I've talked about data. Now, the processes that we do are automated. No one sits there anymore to do reconciliation, mark, debit, credit, we debited, they did not credit, they credited, we did not debit, all those things. No one sits there to do that anymore. That is done by software in the background. I need your brain as an accountant to tell me what is the trend. Why do I have this customer or supplier or this banker or this bank lagging behind on recognizing our transactions? How can I save on my tax bill? How can I make sure that I delay the payment of my suppliers but collect for my debtors today? Those are the things I want to hear from you. So when you sit there and you're thinking about being an accountant, project yourself on what you want to be in the future. Continue. Culture. When we started accountants, the first time I went to the bank and I went to see, like at that time they used to be called chief accountants, not CFOs like now, like my title. Mine, like I had a corner office. Okay, it was corner. But you would walk to his table. No one sits near him. And the accountants were known, they don't smile. What they say is low, whether they are right or wrong. And everyone will say accountants are mean, unapproachable, and whatever. But that is no longer the norm. My second marker for employing an accountant is personality. If you come before me and you're totally introverted and you're not interested in what other people are saying, I'm not employing you as an accountant. Because you are going to project exactly what I don't want to see. I want you to be able to go and be an advisor to the business. Now, what's happening now? Global trends in accounting. I've talked about remote technologies and remote working. How many of you have heard about gig working? Put up your hands. Gig working. Just show of hands. Gig working. Thank you. The professor knows. And ladies and gentlemen, if I look at you, all of you, there was a young gentleman here who asked a question in first year. Your accounting course is how many? 4 years? 3 years? 3 years. I can assure you that by the time he goes into the work world, he will not find any company which is giving him a permanent job. Because we are moving away, companies are moving away from giving people permanent jobs. You become gig workers. You come, you work for me 3 hours, you give me what I want, I pay you. Go to another employer, work for 5 hours, give them what they want, and they pay you. That is the way of the world. And COVID-19 has brought that point home. Secondly, other than us, the professionals and whatever, it is no longer needed of you to have a degree to give me what I want. What I want is your skill. Some of you have heard about Microsoft and Google. Over 50% of the people who are coders behind Google and Microsoft who are giving you all these wonderful products, 50% of them and plus do not have a university degree. They taught themselves to code. Some of them are employed when they are 16 years old. And they are developing all these programs that you have on your wonderful phones. So what are you preparing? Don't just sit there and think, I have to get my degree, then I'm going to present it at NSSF and I'll get a job. What extra do you come with? Data. Data is now what drives the world. Each company guards its data jealously. This is now a global trend. And that is where you as an accountant comes in. And that's why I'm saying, can you manipulate data? Can you read that data and turn it into a story, a future story that your employer wants to know on how they are going to grow their business? If you are doing your BCom or BA accounting or whatever and you've not started doing your professional course, start yesterday. Do them concurrently. If you're not doing a professional course, do data science now. For me, it's like a big brother, a mentor whom I can turn to anytime up to now. And he has to give me that mentorship because he has no choice. Because he loves his profession. And we are all available to do that. Okay, if we continue, the things that happen, for example, now we have value-based pricing. You notice increasingly that when you go to get a service, there's less and less bargaining. Prices are fixed because the life is moving on. What is the value addition of you spending 30 minutes bargaining over 100 or 1,000 shillings? Because the accountant is counting the time that you are spending, if you are my salesperson, 30 minutes bargaining over 2,000 shillings. What is my charge rate out to you per hour? Are you giving me value? Are you giving me value? So let's fix the cost. Let's make, we can segment and say, you come in and pick what you can afford. But do not waste company time negotiating. You can negotiate for the groundnuts on the street. But that's not happening anymore. Blockchain technology. How many of you have heard about blockchain now? If you have not heard about it, read about it. Your lecturers are way ahead of you. And young guys, I don't know what you do with your smartphones. Because these things are there for you to read. This is the modern way. Blockchain and cloud computing, these are the modern way that the data is stored and processed. Blockchain right now is the safest way of storing data. And the accountants were increasingly keeping our data in the clouds and blockchain. And blockchain is a combination that gives you so many other possibilities that you can do with your business. Who data analytics and science have talked about it, but accounting with diverse skills, I've told you about it. In my department, I have 4 sections. The 4th section is called planning and analytics. None of the people there is an accountant. None of them is an accountant. 3 of them. One is a coder, and the other 2 are data scientists. Ask yourselves, what are they doing in the finance department? Because those are the people that are going to give you the value. If I cannot get my accountants to train to give me that value, I'm going to get someone who will do it. Now, imagine yourself if you are an accountant and you are at the same time a data scientist or a coder. You will put your CV on LinkedIn, and within 2 weeks, an international company would have snapped you up. And that's not a story. It's a true fact. How many of you have started putting yourself out there on LinkedIn? Your profiles, building them, and what you can do. Recruiters no longer just rely on recruitment firms. They rely on you and what you have written. And the interesting things now, you can be interviewed by from anywhere in the world. Someone in Japan will sit down behind their computer, and you sit down behind you, and they interview you, and they ask you about what is on your LinkedIn. If I am employing, after they have shortlisted you, and I get the list, the first thing I do is go to the social pages profiles of all the people who have been shortlisted. It takes me only 10 minutes of reading what is on your social profile for me to determine whether you're employable or not employable. How many of you have heard about ESG? Okay, tell us what ESG is, please.
ESG, E is for environmental, S is social responsibility, and G is for governance.
Thank you very much. Now, yes, I'm going to finish my presentation. Since you delayed me, I also delay you a bit. I know I'm standing between you and dinner, but this is very important. You are not going to get this chance again. Now, my microphone has gone dead. Okay. Can you hear me? Even this. Okay. When I read your profile, and I'm reading things like things that might indicate that you are a sociopath, that you're intolerant to other sexes, that you are abusive to people you don't know. You get on your social media and start abusing Bamturaki. You've never met her yet, and you've judged her. She has not been taken to court to be judged whether she's guilty or not, but you've judged and you're abusing her. For example, you are complaining about your dormitory mates and your schoolmates and whatever, then you have put yourself out of a job. And that takes us to the first 2 other presentations. So be careful, be very, very, very careful what you write on your social media pages, because they will never be deleted. I talked about blockchain. That data is stored in a blockchain. You will never be able to delete it. The best you can ever do is close your account, but you will never delete that data. It stays there permanently. And might be the difference between your career and future and your doom. Okay. today, what do we do basically as accountants? I've been saying about, we do reporting. We do more of prospective reporting than historic reporting. We look at controls because we are advisors. We look at cost management, budgeting. Again, when we are budgeting, we are looking at what's likely to happen. And cost management, we are looking for value for money. We are no longer interested. It doesn't matter. I don't look at this laptop and I say this laptop must cost 1 million shillings. No. I look at this laptop and say, what value is it giving me? So if you bring it to me at 2 million shillings and it's going to give me a value of 5 million shillings, I'll buy it. It's not about the cost. It's about the value it's giving me and giving me to the business. We are looking at assurance. You are a valued business partner to the rest of the business, and you are giving assurance to what is happening. You are a business advisor. I've talked about that. And you are providing strategic guidelines. As an accountant, you should be the right-hand side of your manager. On the right-hand side, the go-to person, not a bean counter, please. No. No. All right. Quickly, what have we done in NSSF? I've been in my earlier life, I did accounting in the bank. I rose to the top. Then I moved into business. I did business a long time. I joined NSSF on the business side. As you see, I love talking. So accounting, the old accounting was really boring me. And then at one point, the board in its wisdom decided that we are taking you back to finance. And when I walked into the finance department, that's like 4 years ago, I felt I was going to suffocate. Because in the business, when you're doing business, every day there's something happening. That's interesting. So just set out about changing it. These things like you enter in the accounting department and realize that more than half of them are not qualified accountants. So they are not going to give you the line of thinking one. They have things like they're very introverted, they're overstaffed, they have got low self-esteem, and they are projecting the exact image of what a traditional accountant is. But I believe otherwise. I believe in you, an accountant, being proud of their profession. And an accountant who uses their brain, but not thinking that I'm employed to do debits and credits. Because there are so many other things you can do. I believe in an accountant who has got multiple skills. I believe in an accountant who has left all other mundane tasks to automation. Right now, in NSSF, in the accounts department, all the things that we do, accounts payable, whatever, we have automated that. We have a bot. Robotics process automation. It does that. It reads invoices, you send them. 85% of the invoices are processed automatically. Because you cannot get a person who has gone to school, studied a degree, then put on another 3 years to do a profession, and you expect them to be there ticking invoices, turning papers, and whatever. In my department, we are 100% paperless. We don't process any transaction paper, neither do we accept any handwritten transaction. Because the bot, the computer cannot read your handwriting. Everyone writes 5 differently. So you type. All things have to be typed. I believe in embracing the finance of the future, automations, etc., etc. And if all you are qualified, you've got all this wonderful, diverse knowledge from your accounting, whatever, CPA, FCCA, then you should be able to do a lot of this. Advise, be a relevant partner, be able to do data analytics, increase your self-confidence, work with the swag. Because that is what you are supposed to be as a profession. Be proud of your profession. Know that you are one of those people high up there. Why do you think lawyers walk around and tell them, I'm a land friend and whatever? You tell them you're a higher land friend. Don't put yourself in a position where other professions are going to look down on you. So, that's a glimpse of NSSF finance story. I've already said it. I don't want to overemphasize it. What we are doing now mostly, we are moving to advisory. And the other interesting thing that we are trying to transform the finance function into an income-generating function also. Because we are now starting to spread, we have been advising and doing advisory and to other companies at pro bono. We are doing that because we are upping our skills. We've won numerous awards related to individuals and to the department and whatever. But we've been giving out a lot of pro bono services, especially to the other department, ministries, parastatals, and whatever. Right now, we are working with the Kira Bus Company. We are doing a lot of work for them, with them. I've talked about automation of our processes. Things like petty cash are a big problem in most companies or impressed. It's tempting or whatever. Those things are totally automated, and we give people cards, which card every time you transact, it posts, can give us reports, we can reconcile, we determine your reorder levels. You don't come back to us all the time and say my cash is running out or things like that. The team is very agile and professional, and they are very happy people. And that's what I expect. So, as I'm winding down, what are the pillars of resilience? What should you be looking out to be resilient as an accountant? I was so surprised when the first two presenters presented. I thought they had taken a peek at my presentation, but this is what it is. First of all, your emotional well-being is very important. You have to appreciate and go for your own self-worth. Know that it's important. Get that inner drive. No one has the time to follow you up. If you go to an employer, they gave you a job description and your duties, everything follows. In NSSF, we use a performance tool called the Balance Scorecard. Every activity is measured daily, weekly, monthly, semi-annual, whatever. Everything you do. No supervisor or manager follows you up and say you are behind schedule. Because every end of month, you know exactly where you stand with your target. We are just finalizing our end of year appraisals. When you are doing, you don't argue with anybody. Because it's there. Every day, every week, everywhere. Your performance, you knew where you are going or where you are not going. Yeah? So those are the kind of things. You have to be focused on the future. Future focus. I've been telling you some of the things you'll be learning now. There are so many free courses. Free courses. You've got smartphones, but what do you do with those smartphones? TikTok, Snapchat. When you take 30 minutes every day before you get to bed, go to most of these things like Coursera or even big universities offer so many free courses. Some of them even get certificates. And you learn things like data science, like coding, like whatever, free of charge. No extra cost to you. Your health, physical health, is important. We give, like in my department, we give each other accountability to each other what we are doing about our physical health. Every 2 weeks, we sit down for breakfast. The last session was today, and every one of us, starting with me, I said, this week I walked 15 kilometers in 3 days. I read this book and whatever. I am making sure that I have work-life balance. I took my wife and children out for dinner. I make sure I stay in touch with my family, and I am giving accountability to my subordinates so that they hold me accountable. And they do the same thing. It is very, very important. Who is your accountability partner? When you go with your roommates, do you only just go out to drink and party? What are you doing about your life with yourself? Relationships have a strong social network. Who knows what social capital is? Show of hands. Now, social capital. Every time you make a friend or you meet a person, you have to create that relationship which is going to be of benefit to you in the future. And you all know the meaning of capital. But this time it's social capital. Now, the people who are helping me now with my different problems in this advanced age of mine are the people I went with in secondary school, and I went to university with, and the people I've met in various organizations, Rotary, whatever. You walk into any office and then remember, oh, James, I have this problem, whatever. And they help you out at no cost. And they're happy to do, because that is social capital. Let your friendship not be only about thinking of going for what do you call it? A binge drinking. How are you benefiting? How are you utilizing the? How many of you have mentors? Thank you very much, two ladies. By now, all of you should be having a mentor, someone you look up to, someone who can help you, guide you in your future professional career and even your future personal lives. Everyone has a mentor. Have a mentor? Yes. And if you ask your lecturers, they will tell you somewhere they have mentor. You have someone you have to go and soundboard. It keeps you healthy. Okay. So, as I wind down, who is the new age finance professional? Someone who is future ready to become a resilient person. You have to continuously upgrade your skills. Becoming an accountant, becoming qualified is just step one. You have to have so many other skills because the world is now needs diverse skills. You have to embrace technology. Sometimes I side with the old man when he's talking about scientists. Because, whatever, then you have to display energy and enthusiasm. When you walk into that interview room, are you sloshing in like this? Or you come with all the confidence and everyone is saying, this is the person I want to have. You have to be a creative person. You have to hone your communication skills. Again, communication skills, practice. Go online. You have to dress for success. It's very, very important. Now, most people mistake dressing for dressing expensively. You can dress very, very appropriately and decently at whatever cost you can afford. If you walk into my office and you're putting on a trouser which is 4 sizes big and you put on your belt and it has ears all over like that, what excuse will you have? You are going to tell me that trousers were expensive. How did you buy that one? Huh? Because when you bought that big one, there was the one which fitted you. Huh? So those are the things you have to look of. And be very adaptable. You be very, very adaptable. You guys are lucky or unlucky in a sense that you are not going to be tied down into employment. Neither will be no employer interested in tying you down anymore. So if you do not put your mind at being able to adapt and be agile, the future will not be bright for you.